For years, mysteries have abounded regarding the assassination of President John F. Kennedy. Recently, the New York Times solved one of those mysteries. Who is the man whose cemetery plot lies next to that of Kennedy assassin Lee Harvey Oswald? Well, the owner of the gravestone is very much above ground. His name is Patric Abedin. He also goes by Nick Beef. Mr. Beef is here in the flesh today. First of all, let's start with the obvious question. Why?
Well, I got to see Kennedy the night before he died. My dad was in the Air Force. My mother took us out to the Air Force Base, Carswell Air Force Base. So on November 21st, I saw him. He passed right by me. I got lost, got on a military policeman's shoulders, and there he was with Jackie. Pretty cool. And the next day, I was Mr. Show and Tell. And then, a few hours later, the world changed.
And so, why did you decide to buy the plot?
Well, we moved away about 5 weeks later to Abilene. By the time we came back 4 years later, the world had just totally changed. Men weren't wearing suits, no gloves. The Beatles had made Sgt. Pepper. And my mother and I used to go look at the cemetery. It's a very interesting cemetery, even without Oswald. And she would say, never forget that you saw Kennedy the night before he died. And I would just look at this grave and just think of the juxtaposition of all this. Like, how could one man really change history that much?
Why choose to reveal your identity now after decades of secrecy?
Well, I kind of let the conspiracists have their fun. I didn't acknowledge anything. I didn't do interviews. I didn't put my real name on there because by this point I had children. I didn't want my last name, Abedin, my kids growing up going, why are you next to an assassin? I had written under Nick Beef since like 1977. It wasn't a name I made on the spot. And it sat there for 20 years with nothing on it. My mother died in 96. I went down there and before I got on a plane to New York said, put a marker on that thing. That's when the fun began.
What of the conspiracy theories that you have heard about? Which of those have stood out the most to you?
I'm a DJ. I'm a KGB agent, which I would never figure out what's my undercover, being next to Oswald and saying if he says anything. I just never acknowledged it. It was, and I really came out because I recently put up a website of my work, nickbeefnyc.com, which had to plug it. I'm not here for a movie or a book. Right. And that's when the New York Times contacted me and asked, and I talked to my family. They said, why not?
What has your family said over the years about all of this, about the fact that Dad has a grave next to Lee Harvey Oswald?
Well, Dad's already weird to begin with. This was just kind of like, the ice cap. So now they would see my work in the streets. I would post, I take pictures of tombstones with the names and make haikus out of them. 575, and I call them daikus because I have no ounce of creativity in my bones.
And that's not weird at all. That's not strange at all. I understand that you actually plan on being cremated anyway.
Yes.
So what then happens to the plot?
Well, I guess what happens to anybody that dies, it just stays there if my kids want it or something. But at the time I bought it, I was 18. And like I said, it sat there for 20 years with nothing on it. And in that time, I just decided I wanted to be cremated.
Has since all of this stuff come out, has someone made you an offer for the plot?
No, I don't think I'd sell it. It was all personal. Okay. It was never done as a joke or a hoax.
All right, Nick Beef, a big thanks to you.
Craig,
thanks for coming by, help us. Shed a little light on this. We really wanted to understand. Thank you as well for watching. I'll be back tomorrow starting